I'm going to go ahead and call this June 3rd, 2024 meeting of the Whitefish City Council to order. Thanks everyone for attending in person. We also have some folks joining us remotely via WebEx or Teams, if I'm not mistaken. Just for the record, Councilors Norton and Fury are excused this evening. We'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance. Diane Conradi, will you lead us? You knew I was going to ask you. Diane, I'd also like to welcome your mother to the meeting and to Whitefish tonight. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was your mom. Hi, Miss Gurley. We'll move on to communications from the public. We do have 4 public hearings scheduled for this evening. So if you're here to speak on any of those items, please wait until I call those hearings. Otherwise, anything you'd like to bring to the attention of the council now would be your opportunity. Name and address for the record, please. Richard, anything tonight?
Mr. Mayor, Council. Richard Hildner, 104 5th Street, Whitefish. I just want to make a formal invitation to all of you and to all of you in the audience to join Fire Safe Flathead and Flathead Families for Responsible Growth, who are hosting a Living with Wildfire Community Wildfire Preparedness Workshop next Wednesday, the 12th of June, from 6 to 7:30 at the O'Shaughnessy Center. And we'll have a whole list of speakers who will address all of the, or many of the issues regarding fire safe communities and fire preparedness, wildfire preparedness for our community and for your own homes, and to take care of your families and friends, and prepare ourselves in the event of a wildfire, and how to better become a fire adapted community. And I think we have a lot of work to do in the city of Whitefish and its surrounding area to become more fire adaptive than we are currently. And this is a step in that right direction, We did this same program, or not the same program, but a similar program 2 years ago at the O'Shaughnessy. Well attended, and lot has changed since then, and we want to bring everybody up to date, and hope to see everyone there. And happen to have this handy dandy poster. Can the city use this poster? Do you have a place to put it up, or is that?
Oh, sure.
Copacetic? Okay.
Hand that to Michelle. Richard, she'll get it posted on the front door. What's that? Richard, I will let you know that we just completed our goal setting session for FY 2025, and one item that we did add was updating our 2009 Community Wildfire Protection Plan. So that'll be brought for resolution at the next meeting. I'm sure you would. You're first on the list. Any further public comment this evening? Michelle, anyone online?
For those of you who are attending virtually, if you'd like to unmute your mic and speak towards anything that is not on the agenda as a public hearing, go ahead and unmute your mic. I think we're good.
Thanks, Michelle. Any volunteer board reports from the audience about the council? Giuseppe?
Yes, I'm reporting from the Pedestrian Bicycle Path Advisory Committee. Just 2 updates. Number 1, we have a new vice chair, Doug Reed, who's the tax resort representative. Number 2, I just wanted to give a council a heads up that in our discussions for more than a year, we've been discussing about evaluating some staff bandwidth or a resource dedicated to transportation/trail systems, path, and bicycle planning. So we'll probably raise it at the budget session, and I'm reporting from the board.
Thank you, Giuseppe. Further board reports from the audience or the council? Not seeing any. You do have the consent agenda in your packet, along with the May 6th closed executive session meeting minutes, as well as the May 20th closed executive session, as well as special and regular meetings. Can I have a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor, to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Sweeney. Further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Those opposed, like sign. That motion does carry unanimously, which brings us on to our first public hearing of the evening, which will be item 6A, ordinance number 24-5, approving the Springs expansion to planned unit development to develop 80 independent living units and 44 active living units in 2 buildings on approximately 5.6 acres of land located at 1501 River Lakes Parkway in Whitefish, and amending ordinance numbers 99-9 and 99-17 on a first reading. Wendy.
Right. When Michelle gets back, she's gonna throw up a site plan. It's slide 8. I didn't do them in order, sorry. So again, this is a request to expand the existing facility and develop 80 independent living units in a multifamily building for seniors with 44 units. The entire spring site is 9.7 acres, and this particular project is on a little bit more than 5 acres. This property is located in the Riverside at Whitefish Neighborhood Plan, which was, so slide 8, sorry, I didn't do them in order. Is located in the Riverside Neighborhood Plan. In 1999, there was a plan that was approved in 93, and then in 99 it was updated. And that includes the kind of the setup that we see now with the residential units and the youth facility, and then also an area for senior living. The subject site is within Area 2, which was intended to be developed in 3 different segments. In 99, the area was rezoned to WR4 with a PUD overlay. The assisted living area is in 2A of that overall Area 2. The PUD approval at that time limited the total number of units to 150, and then also set out that any development taking place in this area had to come forward with a PUD. So that's why you're seeing that today. In 2000, the city approved a PUD for the original 48 assisted living units on 4.2 acres, which were subsequently constructed. Additional PUDs were approved by the council in 2004 and 2011. 35 units were approved, but only 18 were constructed. Then additional 8 memory care units along with a building remodel was approved. So this proposal will provide an addition to that existing facility for the independent living with 80 units, and then the separate age-restricted multifamily building with 44 units on 5.5 acres. 4 of the assisted living units will be converted to 8 memory care, so they'll take out the kitchen, make the units a little smaller. The new building will be located on the easterly portion of the property, and then the separate multifamily building will be at the intersection of Hospital Way and River Lakes Parkway. River Lakes Parkway wraps around the property on both the western and southern boundaries. There's a new access to the site, one on the western side and one on the southern side. The existing access near the existing building will remain. No frontage improvements were installed when this project was originally developed. So as part of the project, they're proposing to install a 10-foot wide shared use path along the entire border of River Lakes Parkway to wrap around the project and connect with the existing shared use path to the north and east of the project. In addition, street trees and streetlights will be installed. The existing emergency access that wraps around the north and east side of the project will remain, and it will also be used for staff parking and some vehicle service area. Off-street parking for all the units is going to be located in the center of the project. And then again, additional parking off that service alley for a total of 254 spaces. There's open space areas located throughout the project, including landscaped areas, a garden, a pickleball court, dog park, a large patio space near the buildings for the outdoor dining and residential use. The total open space area equals 40% of the entire site. So the PUD amendment is of the ordinance 99-9 that identified 150 units in that 2A, and they're requesting a total of 202 units. They are asking for 2 zoning deviations, one to the building height They're requesting to go up to 45 feet. Back in 99, when they got their original PUD for the development of the 47 units, they permitted a height of 36.6, so that would be an amendment to that ordinance. They also requested to install only 8 bicycle parking spaces to serve their residents versus the 31 that would have been required through the zoning. In exchange for those zoning deviations, the applicant is proposing to install the 10-foot wide shared use path along the entire River Lakes Park frontage that would connect to the north and to the east. This has been in the Connect Whitefish plan. It's project number C13. The current shared use path will be emergency services and a service alley. The new shared use path will be the primary pedestrian and bicycle circulation around this development and provide connections to the rest of the neighborhood and the hospital. The property is located at 1501 River Lakes Parkway. It's undeveloped, zone WR4 with a PUD overlay. It is surrounded by residential, hospital, and city park facilities. It is served by all public services and facilities. We noticed adjacent landowners, and we did not receive any comments. We review PUDs according to the criteria in the zoning regulations. There are no regulated environmentally sensitive areas. There is the storm pond to the east of the project, but that is wholly on a separate lot, and that serves the lakes neighborhood. It does have a 15-foot setback, but that's being met off-site. No wildlife assessment was completed. However, it's likely that deer and other animals travel through the project. We didn't receive any comments from Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. Open space areas are calculated across the entire site and are located around all the buildings, including active spaces for gardening, pickleball, paths throughout the site. They wrap around all the buildings, connect the buildings to the exterior trail system, and then there's a path that goes through the center of the parking lot. There's also a native landscape area to the north. So the open space area is total almost 4 acres, which is about 40% of the site. Also, this project is in a great location to take advantage of the neighborhood park, the city's trail system on Whitefish River, and then there's a lot of paths and sidewalks throughout that lakes neighborhood. The assisted living facility was planned for this part of the Riverside Neighborhood Plan since 1999. Since this land use in this location was approved by the council with the neighborhood plan, issues surrounding neighborhood compatibility were addressed at that time. The independent living building is larger than the existed assisted living building and the proposed 2-story multifamily building, but is set back from the property lines to help reduce the scale, and is broken up in the shape of the building and its roof to reduce its overall mass. It'll appear residential in nature, fitting the neighborhood. There's no improvements to be made as all the streets are installed at the time of the neighborhood plan. Again, they're going to be making frontage improvements, including that shared use path. The TIS was completed for this expansion. It found 21 AM peak and 26 PM peak hour trips for a total of weekday trips of 350. It's expected that 70% of the trips will go out to River Lakes Park or out to JP Road. And 20% will use Hospital Way and 10% will go towards River Lakes Parkway to Highway 40. The TIS doesn't recommend any roadway improvements. The streetscape along River Lakes Parkway, again, will be updated with the shared use path, street lights, street trees. The multifamily building is going to be located in that southwest corner to help frame the street. Again, as described previously, there's sidewalks throughout the development, a shared use path wrapping around the exterior of the development, and then they're providing bicycle parking. There's no public transit in this neighborhood, and the snow bus does not go out there at this time. The shared use path will be an improved pedestrian and bicycle situation for this neighborhood. The project is not taking advantage of any density bonuses, so no affordable housing is required. The 2 new buildings do complement each other but are different, and they will have to go to the architectural review for final approval. Adverse impacts are being either avoided or effectively mitigated through the modification and conditions of record or other means. It does comply with the growth policy, and that neighborhood plan has always intended to have senior living in this particular area. It does comply with the multifamily standards. One item of note is they're providing 254 parking spaces where our requirements would require a minimum of 113, so it's quite a bit more. They described at the public hearing why they needed so much parking, so they can describe it as well to you. We still would encourage the applicant to reduce their overall parking, just to reduce impervious surfaces, and the Public Works Department will work with the applicant in this regard. The fire department has reviewed this 3-story building, and their ladder can reach the floor of the 3rd story. In addition, the building will be built to meet all the building code requirements. We did review the community benefit. We do believe that the applicant has demonstrated clear community benefit to deviate from the standards. And then also we support their amendment to increase the density to 202 units. Again, this is our highest residential density at WR4 in the city. And even without the affordable housing, they could build up to 371 units. And at 202, that's quite a bit less. And the TIS didn't note any issues with traffic. So the planning board, or no, community development board, sorry, held their public hearing on May 16th. They did recommend approval of the project and only approved the increase to the height deviation. They did not recommend reducing the bicycle parking. They felt that the community needed to have adequate bike parking. So it is a recommendation from the Community Development Board of approval with the 1 zoning deviation to the building height, but not the parking. Then they did adopt the recommended conditions, and just to hit some of those highlights, we're asking them to install the 10-foot wide shared use path along River Lakes Parkway, connecting to the northern path and the eastern path. They'll need to update the signage. Now we have all this great signage directing folks around town, and coordinate that with Public Works and Parks. We would like to see a connection from the path to the hospital to the west. There isn't a ramp on the hospital side of that street, so folks can walk over there as well. Provide a transit pickup and drop-off zone as part of the engineering standards. And again, dial lift is available to folks. So, and then prior to submitting a building permit application, the final acceptance of all improvements need to be met. Landscaping plan showing all the open space areas. And this is 2 separate lots, and they're connecting the 2 buildings, so they will need to do some sort of a lot line adjustment, because you can't build across the property line according to our zoning regulations. Can I answer any questions for you?
Thanks, Wendy. Any questions for Wendy? We'll start with Giuseppe and then Ben.
Wendy, thank you. In your report, am I correct in reading page 103 of the PDF? That's the most recent proposed description of the PUD. Am I looking at the correct one?
Which page? Which one?
103 of the packet of the PDF. It says Exhibit B, the Springs expansion. Here it says WPUD 24-01, condition of approval.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
board's recommended conditions. Yes.
Perfect. Sometimes we see you, the staff, present us with a red line, meaning there is another public hearing where I see how the initial proposal was submitted to the Community Development Board, and then it comes to us, and I can see how it was submitted by the staff and how the community changed it. Am I correct that the original version had two amendments requests, two approved zoning deviation. One was increased building height up to 45 feet, and the second one was number of bicycle parking slots, 8.
Right. Those were the 2 that they had requested, and the board only approved.
Okay, but now
recommended approval of 1. You're right. I should have had that crossed off.
because they recommend, the board recommends, doesn't decide. Am I correct? The community board recommends to council. Council has still the option
Right.
to. Okay.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So we're missing. Okay. Now, when and I watched the meeting of the community development board, and I noticed that the applicant was perplexed when an amendment was asked to move the bicycle spots from 8 till 31. I noticed that the applicant was saying, we never see much use, even up to 8. Why are you asking us to do 31. Now, for those two zoning deviations, the applicant has proposed a major benefit, which is the 10-foot wide share path around the development. Okay, if I ask for two deviations and provide this benefit, and I'm pushed back and I get only one deviation, has the applicant had the choice to change that benefit that he's providing?